Buckets in the Ball podcast with your hosts, Claire Stoops and Nevaeh Mitchell. And the show starts now.
Welcome back for another episode of the Two Buckets in a Ball Hoopcast. We appreciate all the support as we try to get better each week. Today we have a fun episode with two interviews from the state's top seniors. But before we get into the interviews, Nevaeh and I attended our first Mudsock rivalry girls game over the break between HSE and Fishers. Nevaeh, tell us your thoughts on the game and the new facility.
The new Fisher Event Center was nice. It was packed, but it was like a mini Gamebridge Fieldhouse. I liked their playlist. It was it was my type of music. Now about the game. It started off a little slow. I can tell that they were nervous and stuff. But it was fun watching the girls that I trained with at M14 actually play a real game and not just seeing them, play against each other while training. How about you, Claire?
The Fishers Event Center is an incredible facility just because it looks like you're going to a college basketball game just because of the setup of the arena and the size of the building. And I think it's cool how a rivalry game has grown so big to where it has to be played in a 7,500 seat facility. Right. And like you were saying, the game between HSE and Fishers was close, but HSE ended up pulling away in the end, and the crowd was super engaged throughout the whole game, which made it a fun atmosphere to be a part of. And one other thing I want to call out is in between the girls' game and the boys' game, there was a unified basketball game. And it was just a really neat experience and really awesome because one kid from Fishers knocked down a couple of threes and the crowd was going crazy. And I think it's just cool how the crowd was so supportive of those kids and just a really fun atmosphere to be a part of.
Yeah, it was a great event overall. They did a good job organizing it. Now, speaking of the game, we were lucky enough to interview Makalusky from HSC and Nevaeh Dickman from Fishers. We hope you enjoy the interviews.
Maya, welcome to our podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and talk about your basketball journey.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into the interview, let's start with some rapid fire questions. What's your favorite WNBA player?
Probably Subert.
Favorite shoe?
I loved the old Kyrie's.
Favorite clothing store?
Any tall girl brand. Lululemon is perfect.
Best player you've ever played against?
Probably Shaq's daughter or Aaliyah Chavez.
Fun fact about yourself that very few people know.
I love to surf.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? Where do you live? And anything else you want to share about your family?
So I was born in Indiana and I moved to Colorado when I was super duper young. So I say I grew up there basically. Lived there for 7 years, then moved back here in 5th grade, Christmas Day. So that was a great present. And then I just started playing basketball from there. My mom played at Villanova, and my dad was a practice player. That's how they met. So basketball family.
When did you start playing basketball, and when did you figure out that was your sport?
I started playing in 2nd grade. I did all these rec leagues where you have your sweatbands and you think you're so cool. But I really took it seriously in 5th grade because I had a heart condition and I figured out I couldn't do cross country. So I kind of took that as a sign to continue to play basketball, and then I met Coach Nick, and then I just wanted to achieve all my goals.
Did you play any other sports besides basketball growing up?
Yes, I did a lot. I did volleyball, I did soccer. I thought about softball, not coordinated enough, so did not do that. And then cross country was my number one.
What was your favorite besides basketball?
Volleyball. For sure. Yeah.
At what grade did you start playing travel basketball, and what programs have you played in?
Played in it a lot. I started at Always 100, and then I did gym rats for a little bit, and then I did EYBL Kentucky Premier, and then I finished out with the best West Virginia Thunder.
What is the most unique facility you ever played in?
Probably the All Iowa TAC EYBL Fieldhouse. That was super cool.
We know that you're a certified sniper on the floor, and we know how much work you put in to do that, but have you always been a natural shooter, or is that something you had to develop?
Yeah, I feel like with me, I always just loved to shoot. It was always something that I really enjoyed, especially being as skinny as I was, finding a way to score that I didn't have to bully somebody because that wasn't my game. But I think I've always had the confidence to shoot. It's just the mechanics is what I needed to work on. So I think if you have the confidence and you know you can do it, you'll be the best at it because you'll want to work at it, you'll want to get better. So I feel like I've always had the mindset of it, but getting an M14 and working on it, that's what made me better.
Speaking of training, what does a normal week look like on your off season?
Yes, so sometimes like 2 to 3 times a week I'll come in and I'll lift, and then I'll do like red light therapy at my internship, and then I try to get in with Nick as much as I can, probably 3 times a week, and then we'll have like college workout in the morning at 6 a.m. with all like the college girls. Will come back home and we'll work out together. It's really just trying to get in the gym as much as I possibly can.
You be taking naps in between?
Oh yeah, lots. I used to hate naps and now all I do is nap. So
Let's transition to the recruiting process. When did colleges like first start showing interest in you?
yeah, my 7th grade year was when I first started getting a lot of interest, and then I got my first offer to Ohio State in 8th grade, which really meant a lot. I think when a coach takes that much interest in you, not knowing how you can develop, especially with a Big Ten school. Coach McGuff is an amazing coach. So it just means a lot, but there's also positives and negatives to getting recruited that young. You have to grow up fast. You have to learn how to talk over the phone. It's a full-time job, but it's also a really big blessing to get a Big Ten offer as an 8th grader.
When recruiting really started to pick up for you, what did the process look like?
Yeah, so luckily my mom had her coaching license, so they could contact her, which was a really big help with me. So when I would get home from school, I would have a list of all these coaches I needed to call, and I would literally just check them off night by night. And a lot of times I would have like a scheduled time of the night, and I would just let them know I can call from this time to this, and it was kind of just like an everyday routine. And then as you build relationships with coaches, you just know who are you clicking with, who you're not clicking with, and you start like talking to the ones you click with more.
And did you like get invited to the elite camps?
I did, yeah. A lot of the times, almost every coach you're talking to will either email you all the camps or send you mail.
I'm a really huge college football fan, so if I'm ever able to play at that level and go on a recruiting trip to a college football game, I think it would be really cool. But with this being said, like, what was one of your unique recruiting trips?
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of really cool ones. I think Ohio State was by far one of my favorite campuses. I love the environment, and it was right before they played Michigan, so all the M's were crossed out all over the campus. I think IU's was pretty cool too. It was like fall time, all the leaves were falling, and I watched a football game, so I tailgated for my first time ever, which was super fun. Any Big Ten is normally pretty fun too, and then I went to an Ole Miss football game, which was huge because they love football down there. So,
What was it about IU that led you to like them the most?
yeah, I think how they overall view the grind of basketball. It's a blue-collar program. You're going to get up, you're going to work hard no matter how good you are, and just their overall culture. It's no one's better than anyone else. You know, Mackenzie Holmes, you'll see her doing just as many reps in the weight room and in the court as, you know, a freshman. So I think it's just you work for what you get there, and it's a super honest program. They're never going to beat around the bush with you, you know, and they want you to get better.
How conflicted were you to see your sister Riley and her Butler squad beat IU this year?
I thankfully was not able to go to the game because I had a basketball game that night. I was super happy for her and proud of her. I think, you know, I'm watching my sister do what we've always dreamt of doing, and that's putting on that collegiate jersey and going after our dreams. So I think I was excited to see her playing. A little hurt that it was my team, but you know, we'll see about next year.
Outside of IU, who was in your final consideration?
I was really close with Michigan State. I love their new coach. I love their campus. And then I really liked the Stanford coach, but she was about to retire, so that was really hard. But I was really close with a lot of Big Ten schools. Maryland, I was also really close with Coach Freeze. But I mean, you just grow relationships with almost everybody. That's why it's really hard to commit. So I was really close with most of the coaches I was talking to.
When you made your decision to commit to IU, like, can you explain that process? For example, did you notify the schools you didn't select first, and how tough are those conversations?
Yeah, so I was trying to work it out with my parents. What do I do? How do I notify these coaches in a respectful way and thank them for the time that they were giving me? So I really had it narrowed by the time I committed to about 15 or 20 schools that I was really close with. And those coaches that spent the most time with me, I would notify, and I called each one of them. Of course, it's super hard. An over the phone conversation, I wasn't gonna, text them and let them know. I was gonna call them personally and thank them for the time that they spent, which is important because you never know where you're gonna end up. The basketball world is small, so you never want to burn bridges with anyone. So calling them was super important. But it was tough. A lot of them took it a little hard. But just knowing that, hey, I'll see you again. Especially with the schools that were in the conference, and then of course calling Butler, was probably one of the hardest. So.
Last question before we let you go. What advice do you have for young hoopers trying to get to the next level?
Yeah, I think just believe in yourself and who you are and do the work. I also think working paranoid has been something that's been big for me, because just because you're good, in 8th grade and younger doesn't mean you're going to be the best player when you get older. So always working, knowing that somebody's catching your tail, working even harder than you, but also taking time for yourself too, mentally and physically, making sure that you're taking care of the stuff off the court, because if you're not mentally there, you're not going to play your best game. And I've learned that the hard way. I just think believe in yourself, surround yourself with good people, and just have fun with it. At the end of the day, it's just a sport.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an awesome experience watching you play over the past 4 years, and good luck as you finish out your high school career and when you head into IU. Thank you. Nevaeh, welcome to the Two Buckets and a Ball Hoopcast. We appreciate you taking the time out of our day to answer our questions and talk about your basketball journey.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Before we get into the interview, let's start with some rapid fire questions. Favorite shoe?
Anthony Edwards.
Favorite pregame meal?
Chipotle.
What do you get from Chipotle?
I get a bowl with chicken, and I get a lot of salsas.
That's what I get, except the salsas because they're too spicy.
Favorite WNBA player?
I gotta go with Asia Wilson or Caitlin Clark. I love both of them.
Bucket list travel destination?
I've been really wanting to go to Puerto Rico recently.
Favorite musician?
That is a hard one. Probably either Mariah the Scientist or Drake.
Yeah,
Tough.
okay.
Okay, let's get into the interview now. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? Where did you live? Anything else you want to tell us about yourself or your family?
Yeah. So I'm 17 years old, about to be 18. I am born and raised in Fishers, Indiana. I live with my family and 2 dogs. My mom's name is Katie, and my 2 dogs' names are Ellie and Truth.
Did you play any other sports growing up?
Yes, I played soccer, gymnastics, and my main sport when I was growing up was actually horseback riding.
Which one did you like the best?
Probably horseback riding. My mom did it, so I was like, I might as well do it too. But then I had to choose between that and basketball won.
Is there any sport that you didn't play that you think you'd be good at?
Everybody when I was younger would always come up to me and be like, volleyball or basketball, and so
You'd
obviously
definitely be good at volleyball.
Yeah, so that's what I think too.
What age did you start playing travel basketball, and who did you play for?
I think I started playing travel basketball at maybe around 6th grade. I played for Chad Van Heusen for an IGB team. Then I switched to Indiana Elite for TJ Perry. Then I switched to play my final 2 years of AU for Tony Marlin, Indiana Elite.
He's a great coach.
Yes.
And one of the slogans from our podcast is the importance of running your own race. And with these next few questions, we're going to dive deeper into that. So when did you decide that it was your goal to play basketball in college?
I really think when I started doing M14 was my main wow moment. I really want to play college basketball, and that's why, because that became my main motivation to play. So I feel like that was when, and that was probably around, again, 6th or 7th grade.
Who did you get your first offer from?
Kent State. I will never forget that. It was a great moment.
And were you super surprised? Were you super excited? Can you describe your feelings of emotion?
Yes. So there's actually a video of me crying because I was because I just felt like all my hard work had paid off, and that was a really special moment for me and my mom. I think she was crying too. That weekend I had played I dropped my first 20-piece, so I was okay, I should be I think I'm gonna maybe get one, but I still had no idea because my mom was I'm gonna record you because this was one of my first college calls. So she was I'm gonna record you to see how you're doing and stuff. And I was I didn't think much about it, but then afterwards I was she was doing that because she knew I was gonna get my first offer, and I don't know, I'm so grateful for that because
super
that
cool.
video is very cool, yes.
A lot of kids have feel like they failed when they don't make varsity as a freshman, and you didn't start getting impactful minutes on varsity till your junior year. Can you
Yes.
describe what that experience was like?
Yes, so I do not feel like it is a failure if you don't play varsity your first year. I believe that everyone's journey is different and everyone takes their own time, and I personally took longer to grow than a lot of other people. I would say it's not easy, of course. Like, some of my friends were playing varsity when I was younger and I was on JV, so that was not easy for me, but I feel like I always would call it a blessing in disguise because that made me want to work harder because I wanted to be with them and playing varsity. And at first I was really, really upset with myself just because I thought I should be playing up, but I realized after a while that it was really just, again, a blessing in disguise. And honestly, I'm really grateful that I played JV when I was younger because I feel like it made me work harder.
What part of your game did you struggle with? Did you struggle with most, and how did you overcome it?
I feel like when I was younger, I struggled with shooting the most. I was go to the basket, straight to the cup, and I would not stop for anything. But I feel like Coach Randy has helped me with my shot a lot, so now I do not just do that. I have other aspects of my game as well. I feel like just getting reps in the gym, reps on reps is all that I did to really overcome that.
And you're a tough, powerful, and confident player. Were you always this confident, or was that a mindset you had to develop?
Oh my gosh, I was definitely not a confident player when I was younger. But I feel like talking to Coach Randy and Coach Nick and all these other coaches have helped me to build my confidence in myself, and them telling me that I've put in all these hours and I should be confident in the hours I put in because not everybody else is putting in these hours, so why shouldn't I be confident in myself when I know I'm putting these hours in? And that really helped me because that really helped me do more in games, try more, and I feel like that is where I grew the most from when I was younger.
Do you have any advice for the young Hoopers out there and how to push through adversity?
Yeah, I would say just don't view challenges as a block in the road, or a roadblock. View them as a bump in the road that you have to get through to get to the finish line. I feel like I went through a lot of challenges in my basketball journey, and just working hard really gets you through all of them.
Can you tell us about your decision to commit to Buffalo? What stood out to you in their program?
Yes, so the main thing that stood out to me in their program was the coach. Coach Becky is like no other. She's jacked, so I was I feel like she lives a disciplined life, so I want that to reflect back on me. And I feel like she reminds me of some of my favorite trainers back here. And I don't know, I feel like she'll really push me to be the best. And her vision, I saw this in a podcast the other day that I was listening to, somebody said that the coach's vision aligned with what they saw in themselves, and I thought that was perfect because that's what happened with me at Buffalo.
Before we wrap up today, any other advice for young Hoopers?
I would say keep the game fun. When I know it seems like a job sometimes, but really keeping it fun will help you to work harder because you'll actually love what you do. And it's all about having fun, honestly.
That's all the questions we have for you. Thank you for joining us and taking the time out of your day. Good luck as you finish the rest of your high school season.
Thank you so much, guys.
Question of the episode. What's your favorite snack, healthy and unhealthy?
My favorite healthy snack is watermelon and bananas, and my favorite unhealthy snack is popcorn. What about you, Nevaeh?
My healthy favorite snack is I'll say pineapples, because I don't really eat healthy stuff. My favorite unhealthy snack is Nerd gummy clusters, or my favorite chips, hot fries. And that wraps up this episode. We hope you found it helpful, and please help us spread the word. And as always, remember to be a dog on the court, but be kind off of it.
Run your own race and do what's best for you and your family.
Never listen to the doubters.
And finally, positive energy only. Lift somebody up today. Wait, make sure we're talking to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh my God. Right in her.
I'm sorry. Oh my, I keep doing that. I'm sorry.
I got the camera rolling, so just whenever you want to start.
Oh. It was packed. The new Fishers event. Dang it. And that wraps up this episode. We hope you found it helpful, and please help us